How are you? Good, how are you?
You're an amazing player. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You changed the history in basketball.
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming here and playing us. Most people you've played in front of.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark just torched Brazil, and apparently some reporters got sunburned, while fans paid top dollar to witness greatness. A few bitter voices decided to cry fatigue and jet lag. Nice try. This wasn't a warm-up, it was a warning shot. And the reporter meltdown. Oh, it's getting loud. Grab a seat, we're about to dissect the nonsense.
Why sports reporters? Well, there's continued fallout, or I should say reaction, from Caitlin Clark's triumphant return that was a fantastic 2.5.
Let's get one thing straight. Caitlin Clark didn't show up to Iowa to mess around. She showed up to light up the hardwood and left a crater behind. Brazil walked in like a national squad and walked out like they'd just been hit by a freight train. And somehow we're supposed to pretend this wasn't a big deal. Let's run the tape. First preseason game of the 2025 WNBA season, and Clark looks like she never left the gym. Deep threes, routine fast breaks. She was practically teleporting, passing surgical. You could feel the shift. This wasn't just some rookie flex, it was a mission. And when the crowd's losing its mind every time the ball leaves her hands, you know it's real. Now, let's talk about ticket prices. This wasn't a finals game, it wasn't even regular season, but fans shelled out over $400 on average just to catch her play. Brazil, not the US team, not a playoff clash. Brazil, why? Because when Caitlin Clark steps on the court, it becomes the event. She's not just raising the bar, she's dragging the whole damn league up with her. So naturally, the energy was off the charts. The fever with Clark and Stephanie White steering the ship are being called the Avengers, and honestly, that might be underselling it. The squad looks dangerous, fast, coordinated, confident, and Clark is the spark plug. But here comes the twist. Right when everyone's ready to give props, here come the skeptics. A few voices in the media, let's call them the Buzzkill Brigade, decided that instead of celebrating what just went down, they'd rather dissect it into irrelevance, because apparently torching a national team in your preseason debut doesn't count if the other team had connecting flights. Let me introduce you to the main character of the spiral, Roberto Rodriguez. She dropped a post that was so packed with excuses it felt like a college thesis on how to miss the point. She says, brace yourself, Brazil was tired, jet-lagged, drained off their rhythm, because 2 flights and an early wake-up somehow made Caitlin Clark's 30-footer irrelevant. According to Roberta, the story wasn't Clark's dominance, it was Brazil's travel schedule. Now hold up. Let's rewind to the Brazil-Chicago game. These same Brazilian players were out there clowning, hitting logo threes, high-fiving fans, dancing on the sideline like they were on carnival floats. Not a single sign of fatigue. Nobody looked like they'd been through 2 layovers and a missed breakfast. They were loving every second. But now that they've been steamrolled by a rookie and her crew, suddenly they're sleep-deprived, victims of a cruel itinerary. Miss me with that. It's a full-on coat parade, music, and it's not just the fans calling this out. Players were fangirling, literally. Brazil's national team players asked Caitlin Clark for autographs after the game. That's not something tired athletes do. That's what you do when you just got cooked and want a souvenir from the chef. The part that really had me choking on my popcorn was when Roberta said the performance didn't count because it wasn't against a WNBA team. Girl, be serious. She just dropped bombs on a national squad. These aren't some D-League hopefuls. It's Brazil, and Clark didn't just beat them, she styled on them. Let's also not forget Indiana was coming off their own back-to-back. They literally had less rest than Brazil. Fever had just finished an overtime game the night before, so if anyone should have been dragging their feet, it was them. But nope, they showed up laced up and put on a clinic. No whining, no excuses, just buckets. Here's what this All boils down to people like Roberta. Didn't expect this, they weren't ready. For Clark to dominate so early, they thought maybe, just maybe, she'd stumble out the gate. That way they could hit the "I told you so" button they've been itching to press since draft day. But she didn't stumble, she soared. So now they're left grasping at any excuse to downplay what's right in front of them. It's not analysis, it's damage control. Let's talk about the crowd they traveled from across the country, over 240 miles on average, to watch this woman play, and they weren't disappointed. She gave them every penny's worth. Deep threes, flashy assists, and that signature Clark swagger that turns defenders into background props. And while the fans were losing it, Roberta was busy on Twitter doing digital gymnastics to make it all about Brazil's travel was. I checked her tweets just to see if maybe she had a point hidden somewhere. Nope, it was a full-on meltdown. She said the Fever had it easier because they fly charter and had more rest. Girl, they just played the night before in a different state. That's not rest, that's survival mode. And the cherry on top, when someone called her out, she doubled down and started calling people delusional. Now that's rich, because if you're out here trying to gaslight the entire internet into believing that this W wasn't earned, you're the one living in a fantasy. One fan clapped back with "Shut the up. Get the hell out of our country." Harsh maybe, but it speaks to how fed up people are with these tired, recycled excuses. We watched Clark dominate in real time. We saw the crowd erupt. We saw the opposing players lining up for selfies. You can't rewrite that. You want more. Another commenter pointed out that the Fever were the ones who should have been tired. Back-to-back games, travel overtime, but they still came out and played hungry. That's called being professional. That's called elite. But Roberta's take: Brazil was just too sleepy to care. That's the laziest take I've heard all year. At least try to make it interesting. And you know what? Brazil's players themselves aren't even making those excuses. They smiled, they hugged, they got autographs. They knew what they witnessed: greatness. Meanwhile, Roberta's on the sideline trying to rewrite history with a sharpest. So let's really break down why people like Roberta are tripping so hard right now. It's not about jet lag, it's not about flights, it's about fear. That Caitlin Clark is about to turn the whole WNBA ecosystem upside down, and there's nothing they can do about it. She's not asking for attention, she's demanding it with her game. Clark's presence in the league isn't just a storyline, it's a shift in power. A lot of these so-called analysts built their careers hyping players who could never command this kind of spotlight, and now that Clark's drawing sold-out crowds in preseason games, yeah, it's exposing how little their hot takes actually move the needle. Let's not forget, this isn't a one-off game, this is a trend. Ticket prices are exploding. Media coverage is ramping up. Social media numbers are off the charts, and the WNBA, they're finally acting like they know what they have. The Indiana Fever have 93% of their games on national TV. Let that sink in. More than some NBA teams. That's the Caitlin Clark effect, and it's just getting started. But what really grinds people's gears is that she's doing it her way. No fake modesty, no shrinking herself to be humble. She's confident, she's flashy. She'll hit a logo three and then stare you down like you just woke her up from a nap. And the crowd, they eat it up, and that's the part that makes the haters short circuit. They want her to wait her turn. They want her to be grateful just to be there. Sorry, but Caitlin Clark isn't here to kiss the ring. She's here to snatch the crown. Let's circle back to Roberta's meltdown, because this thing gets even dumber after getting torched in the replies she posts. Sorry, your lack of gray matter can't help but make this about the Fever. Ma'am, the Fever are literally the ones who played the game. Who else is it about? The mascots, the halftime show. It's giving I'm losing the argument, so now I'll throw shade energy. And honestly, it's embarrassing. Her whole timeline reads like a coping mechanism. Just a bunch of scrambled excuses trying to soften the fact that Brazil got cooked. Let me remind you, this was Brazil's national team. These aren't scrubs. They play together, train together, represent their country, and Caitlin made them look like a group of intramural backups who stumbled into the wrong gym. The pace too fast, the ball movement too crisp, the shot making disrespectful. At one point, Caitlin pulled up from a step behind the same spot where she broke the all-time NCAA scoring record, and it hit net. Crowd erupts, and someone online had the gall to say that's not a good shot, fam. Where past that, when she shoots you expect it to go in. She's Steph Curry with a ponytail and better college stats. The Brazil coach even said after the game, "She's special." That's a quote, not "she got lucky," not "we were tired," just straight up respect. So if the opposing coach is giving props, what's Robert's excuse? Simple. She came in with an agenda. She saw this preseason game as a perfect setup to downplay Clark's momentum, but instead of a shaky debut, she got a 5-star performance, and now she's scrambling, trying to turn an L into a think piece. Meanwhile, fans aren't buying it. Social media lit her up. One reply, "Get out of our country." Another, "You're just mad. Your fave isn't the headline anymore." And maybe that's the truth behind all of this. Caitlin Clark is the story. Whether you love her or hate her, you're watching, you're tweeting, you're talking, and that's what burns the old guard, because she didn't need years to build buzz. She walked in and flipped the switch. The league didn't make her famous. She made the league watchable. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. Sexism. Oh yeah, it's there, because when Steph Curry pulls up from 35 feet, it's genius. When Caitlin does it, show off. When she stares down a defender, cocky. When she signs autographs after dropping 30 on a national team. Arrogant, bro, please, this ain't arrogance. It's excellence. And if that makes you uncomfortable, you need to examine your own expectations for female athletes. Because if a dude dropped 30 in a preseason debut and had the other team lining up for selfies, ESPN would be running a 72-hour tribute montage. And to be clear, not all media is on this nonsense. Stephen A. Smith gave her flowers. Big Perk said she's an MVP candidate already. Even ESPN put her at the top of the MVP odds graphic before the season started. So while some reporters are crying in their mentions, the real ones are recognizing the moment. Let's talk stats. Last season, Caitlin played all 40 games, Rookie of the Year, all WNBA first team, top 4, and MVP votes, led all rookies in scoring, assists, steals, threes, minutes, you name it. And this preseason opener, she didn't slow down. She accelerated. You could see it in every possession. She was playing chess while everyone else was still figuring out the board. Head fakes, backdoor cuts, no look passes. Girl was possessed. And yet some people really set their online typing. But Brazil was tired. It's laughable. Here's another gem I saw. She's just a shooter. What else can she do? How about lead the league in assists? How about rebound like a power forward? How about turn a WNBA team into a national obsession? But yet just a shooter. Let me wrap this up with one final thought. This wasn't just a game. It was a statement. The WNBA isn't going to look the same this year. The Indiana Fever, they're not a punchline anymore. They're a problem. And Caitlin Clark is at the center of it all. Lighting fires, breaking ankles, and collecting receipts. She's not asking for space. She's taking it, and if the media can't handle that, that's on them. Caitlin Clark just dropped a masterclass, and the excuses couldn't catch up. Brazil got smoked, fans got a show, and haters got exposed. If this is preseason Clark, the league better brace itself. So hit that like button, drop your thoughts below, and subscribe for more unfiltered takes. Because the Clark takeover is only getting louder. You won't want to miss it.